So, birthdays and anniversaries this week. It's kind of a low week for those. Looks like we had Michelle Foxworth and Harvey Cook had birthdays. And Mr. and Ms. George Seifert enjoyed an anniversary, or are enjoying an anniversary on this very day. So congratulations to them, and I don't see anybody here who has had a birthday. So, congratulations to them wherever they are. The rain has really sparked our crowd up a little bit this morning. But thank y'all for being here. Hello?
Did you come to the game? Did you play the cup game?
I did. I came to the games and I played the cup game. I did. I fooled a couple of you with it too. So let's do our quick little devotional time this morning. A lot of times whenever Mr. Lynn asks me to jump up here, I kind of just give you all a recycling of what I will be talking about with the youth. So I'm not going to change that trend. I'm going to continue doing that today. We are still in Exodus, if you remember from all the times that I get up here. And today we are in Exodus 17. If you remember, the front half of Exodus 17 is where the Israelites are thirsty and complaining as they typically do. And Moses goes to God and says, God, what am I supposed to do with these people? And God fixes their problems. And Israel is happy for a split second. And the second half of that chapter is their battle with Amalek. And if you remember, that's the battle where Moses holds his hands up. But I would like to read that real quick. That's where I kind of want to focus this morning for our couple of minutes. So let me read this from Exodus chapter 17, verses 8 through, we'll go through 13. So, then Amalek came and fought with Israel at Rephidim. So Moses said to Joshua, choose for us men and go out and fight with Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on the top of the hill with the staff of God in my hand. So Joshua did as Moses told him and fought with Amalek, while Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. Whenever Moses held up his hand, Israel prevailed, and whenever he lowered his hand, Amalek prevailed. But Moses' hands grew weary, so they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it, while Aaron and Hur held up his hands, one on one side and the other on the other side. So his hands were steady until the going down of the sun, and Joshua overwhelmed Amalek and his people with the sword. And that is what we're probably going to be focusing a lot on in the youth this morning, and that's kind of where I want to hang out this morning. But like I said, throughout this point, or up to this point, we know about how Israel goes through this cycle of we're happy with Moses, we're upset with Moses. We're happy with God, we don't have faith in God. And we go through this cycle. And we look back at it through the lenses of history, and we think about how foolish that looks for them to be that way. A lot of times it does look foolish for them to, days later, after some miraculous thing happens, for them to be back at Moses saying, well, I guess you just brought us out here to thirst to death, Moses, or I guess you brought us out here to starve, when they just days ago have seen this miracle, or every morning now they're getting literal bread from heaven to eat. They still have the gumption to go to Moses and tell him he's doing something wrong, or that God is doing wrong by them. But when you get thirsty, you get upset, and I can understand that. But Moses so far has been a faithful intercessor. He has been, despite their frustrating tendencies, he has always gone to God on their behalf. He has yet to go to God and ask him to strike Israel down or anything like that. But we come to this point where there's their first military battle after leaving Egypt. And we see a little bit in this battle kind of, I think, the way God wants the church to work in a way. This is not a full view of how the church should work, but I think there's some lessons in here that we can learn about the way we ought to behave as a church and the jobs within it. So, to summarize, you've got Joshua, who is on the ground fighting with Amalek. He has a sword in his hand. There are men on the ground with swords. There are foot soldiers fighting against their foe. Then you have Moses on top of the hill holding his hands up so that they can prevail. Whenever he holds his hands up, Israel prevails. Whenever he drops his hands, Israel begins to lose. And then you have Aaron and Hur, fellow church leadership of the Israelites, not quite as high as Moses, but they're assisting him. And they're assisting Moses on top of the hill, making sure that he can do his job. And I think that says a lot about the church. I think it says a lot about the way things are supposed to work, in that everybody in the church, and I harp on this a lot, I feel like I harp on gifts and people doing their jobs in the church and stuff. But there are jobs for all of us to do in the church. Even if you only come on Sunday mornings, there is a job that you're to perform. There are things you need to do. If all you can do is raise your hands to God and praise Him, that's a job that you ought to do. But this, I think, says something about the way we all should work together. So we have to have foot soldiers on the ground. I mean, there have to be people to praise God. There have to be people to serve Him, to love Him, to bring other people into the fold, to tell people about God. There have to be people doing that. We can't all be doing the same exact thing, but there have to be people in the pews in the church hearing what's said and acting upon it. If there's nobody here, there's no reason for a pastor to be here. There's no reason for there to be any church leadership if there's nobody here. And then second, you have, so that's the Joshua, the foot soldier component of this battle. Then you have Moses on the hill. You've got the pastor of our church leading things, whatever church it may be. He has to do his job so that we foot soldiers can do ours. If you don't have a pastor offering good leadership, if you don't have him preaching and teaching the word, if you don't have him praying and interceding on behalf of his flock, there's no way a church can be successful. There's no way we can be successful at drawing near to God or drawing other people into the fold. But also, that pastor needs support. If Moses needed somebody to help him hold his hands up, the Moses, which we know everything about, if Moses needed help, Pastor Kim is going to need help. Pastors of other churches are going to need help. They can't always do it by themselves. So church leadership is also supposed to be there to help support the pastor, to help support him do his job. And if one of those three components falls down the job, if one of those three components loses their faith or is unable to perform or falls off the wagon, then that can throw other things off in the church, and then you have issues. So, all that is to say that there is not one of you sitting here today that doesn't have a job to do in the church. There's not one of us who is a Christian that doesn't have a job to do in the universal church. There's something for everyone to do. And if we can all do those things, if we're all faithful for doing the things that God has called us to do, it will support other people in the callings that they have. So, you have a job, do it. And if you do it, everybody else will be better able to do their jobs. So, that is all I have for us this morning. We can head off to Sunday school. I'll pray for us to close out. We did not, the birthdays we had were Michelle Foxworth and Harvey Cook. There's none on the calendar. Am I missing anybody? Birthdays? Okay. All right. No birthdays this morning. At least none here. So I will pray to close us out. Let's pray. Father, again, thank you for this day. Lord, thank you for all the people that we have here today and all the people who comprise our little church. I pray that you would help us to do the things that you called us to do. Lord, and in doing that, I pray that you would help us to support other members of the church in doing things that they ought to do. Lord, that you've given us jobs, you've given us tasks, you've given us callings that we're to perform, and I pray that you would help us to do those things. Lord, we know that we can't do anything without your help, without your power. Lord, we can't go outside of what you want us to do and do better than that. Lord, we have to rely on you for support. We have to rely on you to be able to do anything. So I pray that you would help us to do those things. Lord, that you would help us to remain faithful to you. And Lord, that you would give us something good in Sunday school as well as in the service